Friendly greetings. It's Torley here. Another week has gone by. And as you may have noticed, ding, I have a shaved head, courtesy of my wife. And I think, well, let me explain first of all why I decided to have my head shaved. One reason is because I was getting a lot of headphone hair, and this prevents it. It removes the problem because it was irritating to, like, you know, when you put a depression in your lawn, like you put a barrel outside in the lawn, you take it off and there's that hole there. It was the same way with my hair and it got irritating. It's also cooler. I don't like to sleep with a lot of hair because it clumps up and it prevents me from really getting restful, which is bad because when I don't have adequate sleep, I don't perform well. Another reason, jokingly, is that it helps me move around the house faster, just like how swimmers shave. I like to solve problems and get things done. And so my dear wife took out and made it really short, the electric razor. It was, and I wore my earplugs because it's really loud and it feels great. It reminds me of my father because towards the end of his life, I don't think he ever had a shaved head when he was younger, but towards the end of his life, he was quite balding. And I mean, look like a monk now. Strangely enough, if I were asked, how do I feel emotionally? Is my emotional state different? I would actually say that I feel both more serene on one hand, some parts of the day, and sometimes I feel more aggressive. So if you see and or hear me kicking ass, there's a very good reason for that. Let me turn off the lights for a moment. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you Nessie. If you're wondering who that is, or what that is. It's not night time. It's about 5:46 right now, approximately. And Nessie is my new lap toy. Got her for like, was it 15 bucks or so from our Fred Meyers. Now the fun thing about Nessie, you can see there's sort of a leopard print, is that you can power Nessie with batteries. It's advertised as the huggable lamp and it's got a bendable shape, but it's connected via USB. It actually relies on the computer's power, which is interesting. Let me move it past the microphone here. And this is fascinating because it's sort of a given now that, wow, USB ports are so commonplace. You would expect a student or someone else like myself. I'm always a lifelong informal student of things. I'm an autodidact. Is that the word? So this Nessie has shine. And one of the things I'm looking for is mood lights. So if you click twice like that, you get these mood lights. I've been asked recently by a few people how I did my photography for my color synthes set on Flickr. Check that out. Isn't that nice? And I actually did it. I have a Canon camera. It's not here with me now. It's just a little point and click. And it's an SD 1100 IS. It was a very good deal. It was refurbished. I like things in bargains. Love to save money. And I was also using this Glade plugin. It's not plugged in right now, hence it's a Glade unplugged in. And it was 10 bucks a while ago, and it still has some scent in it. And these lights, unfortunately, it's not quite angled the right way. So let me put this back. As Halloween draws near, there are lights in the stores, and I'm going to be experimenting. I'm going to be purchasing some cheap lights and seeing how things go. I've been thinking a lot about early 70s synthesizer music and 80s as well. And disco balls, not that I would get an all-out giant one, but any sorts of resourceful techniques that I could use to illuminate and have more fun, because I like to be in a mood when I compose. My music has so much of my emotion in it, and this is why I write short stories to go along with it. And see, Nessie is very pleasant. Say hi, Nessie. And I also got a strobe light. Now this was decidedly in the Halloween section. Let me find this as well. And this one is just plugged right here, and it's operated, you can hear it click. There we go. See, so this is like, I have to shout now, hopefully you can see that. And the strobe is pretty cool. It goes from low frequency to a very quick one. Not even as quick as I'd like, but I think this will be pretty cool in conjunction with coloration. Those kind of tones and auras we use to bring out atmospheres. Now, if I were asked, because I haven't been, what do I think about movies, films, cinema, that have incoherent plots, that don't make a clean sense, they don't have a clean ending, what do I think of those? Well, if I had to generalize, I'd say I like them and I love them, but there needs to be a condition, and that condition is that they need to help put me into an emotional state, and they don't have to wrap up neatly, but it's got to be something that I can watch. Let's get Nessie out here to colorize my bald head. It's got to be something that I can enjoy close to bedtime and just drift off to, and it generates a mood. Right now, I'm watching Altered States, which, by the way, here's a piece of trivia. It has the actress who played Nina Sharp, or is currently playing Nina Sharp in Fringe. And indeed, there are some very close parallels. Like, have you seen the episodes where Olivia is in that dream state kind of tank? Well, they got one of those in Altered States, and that was in the 80s. I've also enjoyed Videodrome, which I watched with my wife. It was pretty cool throughout. There is a splatter of violence throughout. It's not done in a gratuitous way, and it really helps the peaks and valleys of the story accentuate that. And I've also watched, let's see what else has been on my cinematic list. I got some David Lynch in the upcoming queue, but these sorts of dream state movies I'm really enjoying. And Altered States, we're about midway through that, and Fringe is on tonight, so that will be fantastic. These are the sorts of artistic things I enjoy watching, because then when I'm writing music, and I have a really cool glitch minimalist piano piece. Actually, let me play some of it for you. You can't see my computer screen in this video, but I will play for you so you can hear what this is like. And it's called Piano Drones, and that's exactly what it is. These sorts of really low key, I took piano loops and tracked them backwards and forwards, so it's sucking onto itself. It plays normally, and they was zhin, zhin. Some of them I chopped them up, and some of them I did sorts of slight variations. So like in the real world, you'd never ever play something exactly the same way twice. But I took a MIDI and I recorded that, and I duplicated that block, and I changed one of the notes, the ending note on each phrase. And there's also some interesting affected vinyl sound effects, like click, 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 because I'm into that sort of the dub and some of the dub step stuff where you have characteristics of noise, and the city life artists like Burial, artists like Pole, just Pole, not Pole Reaction, although, or Pole Folder, I think it is, more proggy stuff. All these names, I'm just TORLEY. And so as you can hear right now, this is Piano Drones, and it was a magical experience for me to make, because having these very simple elements in the stereo field, and like I mentioned, just tracking them throughout and having the loops unfold. It was also heavily influenced and inspired by Ryuichi Sakamoto and Alvin Noto, which is Sakamoto Noto. It's a great, who is really Carsten Nicolai, but the name goes away, the rhyme goes away. And I love that sort of concept, and I want to take it in my own direction. What would I do differently? I would do more, say, sorts of harmonic block chords, not so much beep, say, as intrinsic glitch. And here it's coming to an end. I'm going to show a bit of my next dream journal entry, number 25 after this is called, and it's starting now, it's called Discarded. Like discarded art is what it is. And this was inspired by Memories of Green by Vangelis or Vangelis. I pronounce his name a different way each time to add variety. I'm not going to play the whole thing through here. I'll have to tease you with that until you see it on torley.com/music is quick access, by the way, to get to my dream journal. But I write the stories in my dream journal, and they're these crazy things. Sometimes they often don't make sense, but they are what they are, and I like to share that. Like my most recent one of Our Kind, number 10, where I thought about the sort of horrifying, what would we do to a parallel world, a parallel Earth, if we couldn't travel? I'm just going to fade it out. I'm the manual ducker. Do. What if we couldn't travel over there and come back? What if it was one way? And what if that necessitated us to think of a practical solution? And that solution, by accumulation of horrors, turned out to be that we would use this parallel Earth as a sludge fest. We would send all our garbage, our slop, that way. what would that make us? So it was an interesting sort of flash fiction, and this is what this is really about for me. These captured tiny ideas, perhaps woven into a larger story later. I don't know. But for the time, and let me turn the light back on. Thanks, Nessie, for joining us today. I'll just click you there. It's interesting how there's different, I don't know why they didn't need to have multiple points, because I would just like one button or just an organic squeeze ring all the way around. It would be cool if it were a MIDI control as well. But those are the sorts of thoughts that enter my mind as a creative person. So thanks for coming with me on this little journey. I didn't play music for you. I did play on the computer sense, the record and playback fashion from the iTunes, a couple of my Dream Journal tracks. 1.5 or sort of. But there's going to be more soon. So yes, thank you for watching, and visit TORLEY.com for the continuing adventures of my Dream Journal. Friendly bye-byes for now.